What is up, iTrack Bites family? Community Manager Jordan here with another episode of the Member Spotlight series. Super excited to have member Charlie on tonight. Just gonna wait for him to join, but he has an incredible weight loss journey story, and I'm sure that everybody is going to be inspired by it. And so I'm super excited to get him on here, and I hope you guys are having a great week. If this is your first time watching us, go ahead and let us know in the comments where you're from, what plane you're following. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay in the comments. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and like this live video and share it for others to view. Hello, hello. Let's see. Just waiting for some people to join. Waiting for Charlie. All right. All right, just gonna be a couple minutes, guys, for Charlie to get on here. All right, he is on. Let's go ahead and get him. Please work Facebook. All right, let's go ahead and get him added. All right, Charlie, it is trying to get it loaded. All right, let's try this again. There we go. Let's try this again. All right, buddy.
Hey, Jordan, how are you?
Good. How are you, friend?
I'm wonderful.
Oh, lost you there for a second. You there? All right. Let's see. Are you? Let's see. All right. 1 second, Charlie. Kind of lost you there. Hold on. All righty. Let's try this again, guys. Facebook always giving me headaches like they always do. All right.
We're good?
There?
We're good. We're good. I think we're good.
Okay.
All right.
Facebook is the devil. I'm telling you.
Instagram is no better. Instagram is no better.
What is up, my friend?
Not much, not much. It's finally a pleasure to meet you on here.
I know. I always get like excitement and everything when I actually get to see the person face to face instead of just DMing back and forth. So thank you once again for being on the live with us tonight. I'm sure that your story is going to resonate with some people and get them inspired. And you got a good story to tell. You come highly recommended. So super excited to get you on. Let's go ahead and start with who you are.
So I am Charlie. I started this journey about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. I weighed in at 270 pounds. And, you know, it was a time in my life where I was going through a rough patch. And, you know, I had no outlet. Even though I had my family and my friends, no matter what anyone said to me, I was in a funk where I had nothing to turn to. And the only thing that made me want to kind of feel better was eating. And that's exactly what I did. I ate. Yeah. I ate my pain. So, you know, it kind of just stuck with me. And then, you know, we had a family event to go to. And I remember going to the store and trying on a suit. Mm-hmm. And so here I am in my mind. I'm thinking, you know, I'm Charlie. You know, I'm skinny enough. I can fit in that.
We're gonna get it going.
You know, Conor McGregor kind of blue suit going over there. And surely enough, you know, the gentleman who measured me gave me a jacket, tried it on, and from there he says, all right, let's try another jacket on. And he basically said to me, and I don't think he meant it in a kind of way, but it struck me. It struck a very, very sensitive chord in me.
Yeah.
And he basically said to me that you're going to have to go to a big and tall. I don't have your size.
Yeah.
You know, that hurt. That hurt
Oh,
bad.
I bet.
That hurt bad. So, you know, amongst other things that were going on in my world at the time, you know, I remember going out to breakfast with my mother, and she said to me, you know, I know it, I understand what you're going through, and you know, I want you to know that I'm here to support you, and I want the best for you, and just like any mother would.
Yeah.
And you know, I just bawled out in tears, you know. And so she says, you know what? She says, I tell you what. She says, like, I kind of need the motivation, and I kind of need the partner to come with me, and you know, come with me to Weight Watchers.
Yeah.
So I said, Mom, I said, you know, it's not for me. You know, I don't want to get judged, you know, that type of thing. She says, no one's going to judge you. You know, you're going to come with me. You know, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And, you know, that started getting the ball rolling for me. And I'm choking up a little bit because it's just bringing back.
Yeah.
Me. And, you know, it basically, when I gave her kind of like a hard time, because I'm very stubborn in that sense. You know, you got to convince me, you know, and for me to go into like in a studio with me being a size 48 at the time,
Yeah.
I just didn't feel comfortable. So I said, you know what, I'll go with you. If it makes you happy, I'll go. So I ended up going with her, and I remember sitting in the back row. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I met my coach there, who I don't know if she's on here now. I'm assuming she is. But Anne just, you know, stared at me, and I stared back at her, and I was just listening to her. I was soaking it all in. And, you know, and towards the end, I got weighed. I accepted the number, and it was 270 plus pounds.
Yeah, wow.
And, you know,
how tall are you, Charlie?
I'm 6 foot.
Okay.
I'm 6 foot. So, you know, they gave me the app. I did it for the week, and I did it with my mother. We both went out, we got all the food ready, and we did it. So I walked in the following week after, and, you know, again, I sat in the back row, and we went through the meeting, and I got weighed in, and she's like, congratulations, you dropped 8 pounds.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I was like, that feels good. So it, you know, kind of just like gave you that euphoric kind of high in the body. It was just like, yeah, you know, this feels good. This feels good. And so the following week after, I'll never forget, my mother made, I think it was pasta, whole wheat pasta. And I go to weigh in, and she was like, you only dropped 0.4 this week. And I go, what? 0.4? 0.4? I said, that's what basically just kick-started everything. I said, no, I ain't settling for that 0.4. And so the following after, I just got my equipment on. I had, you know, my gear that I you know, I often wear in my videos.
Yeah.
And I went to a nearby park, and I just started walking, and then walking turned into running, and it just brought me back to what was important to me.
Yeah.
And what was me. I needed to get myself back. That place today still holds a very special place in my heart.
Oh yeah.
Because it, you know, I don't know how, I know you have watched, you know, the stories and everything, and you know, you've seen Powerland and all that stuff. I name all the places I've gone to, all my training grounds, and that place was named Wildland because it was a very wild place. That place taught me a lot of, you know, symbolic things that meant close to me. It was basically that I was entering an uncomfort zone of being around the elements of the cold weather, pushing myself to get to where I needed to be. And you know, importantly, was to drop the 70 pounds
Yeah.
altogether. And surely enough, I started picking up steam. I started going there every day. I introduced myself to Instagram, and I started documenting my life.
Yeah.
And surely enough, you know, as time went on, I dropped 10 pounds every month for 7 months. So I dropped, you know, a total of 70 in 7 months.
That's incredible.
Which was a really heck of an achievement. It took a lot of work, but I did it. But you know, the one thing that always stuck with me was I just remembered the old Charlie who was just down and out.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when you don't have an outlet, you know, life will throw you something. And life kind of, you know, at the time wasn't fair to me, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, we always have up and downs. But you know, I look back now and I say to myself, you know, that was the reason why this happened, because I went on this greatest journey that I could ever possibly ask for anything. You know, I've met so many people along the way. I've been to so many fitness gyms. I've met so many great people.
Yeah.
I've been featured on a lot of pages, especially fitness trainers and fitness entrepreneurs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it's been a grand, you know, it's just been a grand 4 years for me, and it only gets better. It only gets better.
It does. And that to me is just crazy. So it's crazy to me that you were able to, you know, lose weight is, yes, that's what we all want. But it kind of like, from watching you and getting to know you, it's kind of
Yeah.
like you got this spark of energy that you're just like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. You just got to put your mind to it. And
Yes.
I feel like that's why I love, like, no disrespect to the women that we have on here, that I have on here all the time, but I try my best to find men that are out there that kind of inspire, because just like that, just like what you had said, you know, your mom invited you to a meeting. You were like, that's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. You know what I mean? That's how it
Yep.
always is.
Yep.
So you kind of went away from the standards to find out that it was good for you. You got the mindset, you did it. And that's going to help so many men that are on iTrack Bites be like, you know, if Charlie did it, I can do it. If Jordan did it, I can do it. If Ben did it, I can do it. And all these things, the domino effect is what I try to do for them. And it's just incredible that, you know, not everybody loses weight fast, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know,
No.
Coach Ben on Monday nights, he's always like just write down what your goals are for next week, crush them, get whatever you have to do. And that's like with everybody. So congratulations, first of all, for that. You know, and congratulations on getting a lifetime and all that stuff. And then, you know, making the switch over here. I really do appreciate having you on our team and having you as a member. And, you know, the first thing I want to ask you is, though, like, so that was 4 years ago. How old were you back then?
I was 37, turning 38.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was your journey as far as from before then? Like, obviously you got up to 270 pounds. You're 37 years old. They told you that way, and you're like, oh God, how did I get here? How did you get there? Like what was your life before that?
It wasn't as I am now. I'll tell you that. The Charlie that was back then is not the Charlie that you're seeing right now in front of you. I had a very different mindset. You know, I was pouring my energy into somebody that took advantage of that.
Yeah.
And you know, when you do that, you kind of lose yourself along the way.
Yeah, you do.
You do. And when you do that, you're not mentally there. And one of the great things that Ann always told me in the meetings is that you have to have this right.
Yeah.
It all starts here. This is the power right here. Mm-hmm. And you've got to keep this strong in order to keep this at bay.
Yeah.
So, that was one of the greatest things, and one of the things that stuck to me every day when I was in there.
That's very good advice, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
And I love hearing that. I love hearing that there are people out there that, it's not that's their job. It's not that, it's Coach Ben's job to
right.
hype you up and get you this night. It's the fact that like coaches really do really love their members. And that's like the number one thing I always try to tell people all the time when they get to they finally see Jordan or they talk to Jordan, and I'm like, I'm just the community manager. But it's the fact that it's like, but I get to know everybody on a personal level if I can, because like your journey is good for me. Like, I'm 5'11", and I've been to goal once, and I'm ready to get back there, and I've been trying, and it's not as fast as what it was the first time. So just here tonight talking to you is already inspiring me to see. I see somebody that's my height. You're a little bit older than me. I'm only 31, but but
don't rub it in.
But seeing your journey, you get up every day and you kill it, and not every day is the same, and not every day is perfect.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
So another question I have before we kind of get further is, so during that 7 months of you losing weight and you tracking your food and tracking your intake and doing all that, what helped you up here? What helped get your mind to where it needed to be to continue on for those 7 months to get to goal?
It was drive. It was pure drive. And Instagram, it also helped me out. It was connecting with people, basically outside of, New Jersey, out of work, out of family, out of friends. With all due respect, they were cheering me on, but I needed to connect with other people. I needed to branch Charlie out in order to kind of reconnect myself, reconnect who I was. I basically, the Wild End basically reconnected who I was. It rebuilt me. It made me confident. It made me, venture out basically it was like a path. It was a giant pond. And every step I took was, either was an incline of a hill or going down a hill or going through a patch of leaves. Each step I took and each turn I made brought me back to who Charlie was. Charlie was a very strong person. It's just I forgot about that along the way.
Yeah.
I forgot who I was. And that was the most very important thing about me is that I needed to find who I was again. And the only way of doing that was to go through what I had to go through. It was dropping the 70 pounds. I wanted it off of me. I knew myself, it was not me. I know who I am and it's in me, and I got to bring him back out.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did each step of the way. The music that I listened to, it was the people that I met that were cheering me on. Yeah, I had a very small following at the time. But it was those kind of people that got me going. Yeah. And like I told you earlier, that I didn't have an outlet. Yeah. And I found my outlet.
Yeah.
And it was a healthy outlet. Yeah. It was a positive outlet. Most of us are not strong to kind of, resist the urges. But I knew that I wanted what I wanted, and I wanted to drop that weight. And I did. And I did it with a bang. Each step of the way, I look back on them and I'm just like amazed on, some of the geeky things I did. But,
you know what I love? I love that you mentioned that you had to find an outlet with Instagram and connect with others, because like I remember when I got to goal, it was me and 4 others, or me and 3 others, and it was 3 other guys that we were in this platform with all this women, but yeah, us 3 stuck together. We had a group chat on Instagram, all that stuff, and it was like, no disrespect to my wife or my family or anybody else that was rooting me on, because they were. Like, don't get me wrong, we get down to goal or we lose a significant amount a weight
Right.
and they're like, man, you're looking good, Charlie, or man, you're looking good, Jordan. Like that feels good. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. But like
Yeah.
we need that relationship with other people. And unfortunately, as bad as it is, it's normally the ones we meet online
Yes.
that
Yeah,
do
that's
that. You
true.
know what I mean?
That's true. I met
Somebody asked
some.
on here, how many times throughout that 7 months, Charlie, did you feel like giving up?
I stood on the ground of never giving up.
So you kept that going.
I kept going, and to be honest with you, there was a time where I had a little setback when I was out there running. I kind of landed on my foot in a very awkward way, and the knee kind of slipped a little
Yeah.
bit. You know, that like that glide, and I was like, oh, that hurt. And I looked down at my knee, and it's like the size of a softball.
Yeah.
So I had to go to PT, and they're like, yeah, you can't run anymore. And I'm like, I'm so close. I only have 10 pounds left,
Yeah.
you know? And they're like, well, you know, you I don't think you can do it. You can't. And I'm like, you're not going to tell me how to. Yeah, I can't. I'm going to just do it, you know? And I went through, I think it was like 2 months of PT. I came back out, and I went back out there, and I started running again, and I felt good. I felt really good. Second day, went out there, went around the bend, and I felt the thing slide out again. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm done. And at that week, I was like 208. And I'm like, geez, man, I'm like this close. And I kind of switched the gears around, and I'm like, you know what? I can't run anymore. You know, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And it was almost like my journey was basically shifting me that you're done here. You did what you had to do. You reconnected who you are. You built your confidence back. Now it's time to go on to the next level. The next level was the gyms, which I called the Ironland at the time. So the Ironland kind of was up until this past year, but basically it was a gym. It was all about the iron. So I kind of had 8 more pounds to go. And I was talking to my good friend, Tony. I said, Tony, look, I can't, I'm literally 8 pounds away from 200 again. I can't do that. He's like, well, you gotta, you know, you're in the gym now. You gotta lift. I'm like, it ain't gonna happen, man. I was like, I gotta find an alternative. I said, you know what? They got a spin class upstairs. I'll spin. I know, you know, it's low bearing.
Yeah.
I'll you know, I can sweat it off. It, you know, builds up the thermal, you know, heat in me, and I'll just burn all the calories off. So I did that, and my knee started recovering, and I felt, you know, alive in the spin class. Of course, you know, transitioning from running to spinning didn't have that much of a kind of an effect.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was in a new land, as I call it. And I met a lot of great friends there that I still talk to today.
Yeah.
You know, and shortly after, I remember that they had a sauna and a steam room, and that's where I completely just went in there and I soaked myself. And I think within 4 weeks later, I hit goal.
You hit goal.
It's
crazy.
It wasn't 200 that I hit at. And I made it my determination to say, 200, you're not going to be the number I'm going to be hitting at. I'm going to hit below you. And surely enough, I walked in there very confidently, and I wore my Ultimate Warrior shirt at the time. Because I call it, I was basically promoting like the warrior mentality. And I remember stepping on that scale, and I remember it was me. I think it was me, my mother, and Anne, and I forgot her name. Oh God, I'm so sorry if she's on here. But I remember I stepped on the scale, and I took a deep breath, and I said, "You're going down." And I stepped on it, and surely enough, obviously, you know, they built up the hype and everything, and I said, "No, come on, tell me, what's the number? Did I hit?"
Yeah.
She's like, "You did it," and it was like 199.0 0, I think. It was right on the dot, actually.
Yeah.
So I went below the 200 mark.
That's crazy.
And it was just, fireworks at that point.
No, that's so awesome, Charlie. Honestly.
Yeah.
It's such a
Yeah.
good
I mean,
accomplishment.
I went from size 48 waist down. I think the lowest was I fit into a size 32. I'm right now at 33. So, yeah, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. You just got to have the drive. You got to have the motivation. And one thing is the trust. You got to trust yourself.
Yes.
You got to trust yourself all around. You got to let go of everything that happened. And you just got to just focus on what matters most, and that's you.
Love it. Love it.
You know, and surely enough, as soon as you start putting all those 4 things together, you
got the tools.
Motivation and a half.
You got the tools, you just got to jump. Real quick, before I ask you the last 2 questions I always ask my members is,
yes.
So now going forward, Charlie, what does it look like for you? How is iTrack Bites helping you staying into your goal weight or getting back down to where you need to be? Or how does this all work out for you that you're going to keep going and keeping the weight off?
Right. That's a good question. So I had a little setback back in March that, knocked me out of the realm of working out. And so it was kind of like a cycle where I was just playing around with meal plans and seeing if things will work. But I started seeing I was slipping. And I was just like, all right, I know where this is going to go, and it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
And I got to do something about it real quick before something bad happens again.
Yeah.
And that was one of the promises that stuck with me was I'm not going back. I worked too hard for this body, and I'm not going to go back to that old Charlie, because that old Charlie would probably say to me, what are you doing back here?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, no doubt.
So I've been hearing iTrack Bites, and one night I was just in my room. I think I was just listening to my music, and I had my phone going, and I'm like, you know what? Let me see if this iTrack Bites is on there. So I went ahead and I downloaded it, and he said, here, sign up, and you get the free features and all that stuff. And I did remember that someone did tell me that it does like a point scale system, almost like Weight Watcher did. And that's one of the things that kind of fit me. That's what worked for me, was the point system. And so I downloaded it and I started playing around with it. And I didn't give it 5 days before I said sign up.
Yeah.
And I started scanning the foods, and I'm like, you know what? I need to go back to what I was eating.
Yeah, back to basics.
Back in the day when I was eating. And I did that, and I was like, look at that. I dropped weight this week. This is what I wanted. And, I started going back to the old thing, the old way of eating. And I said, let me see what else this can do for me. Now, at the time, I was weighing at 220, which visually you wouldn't even see it.
Yeah.
But, I felt it. I felt it. It was pushing at the wall. And I was like, this is danger zone at this point. And so I remember when I was starting to drop weight, I said, all right, I know where I'm going to go with this, but I need to know where I'm going with myself.
Yeah.
And like I told you at the time, I was still working out in my garage. I kind of built my own home gym. And my goal was to jump back in my Conor McGregor blue suit. With the and that was my goal. So I actually got it just fitting it like a couple of days ago. So I'm actually kind of happy about that. But going forward, I was on the Better Balance, which that's what got me to drop all that 15 pounds.
Yeah.
So I switched it recently back to the I think they call it the Calorie Command.
Calorie Command, yeah.
So basically, kind of switching out of cutting, and I'm going to start going back up, but in a bulking kind of way, not eating everything in my path.
Yeah.
Lean, meat, lean meats, lean fishes, rice, broccoli, asparagus, ground meats, all that stuff. The 6 meals a day, like bodybuilders do. That's our life. So the one question that everyone always asks me, including my best friend who's a barber, he says to me, you only know where you're going to go with your body. Where do you want to go with your body? And I said, that's a good question because I haven't really figured it out yet. And I think now that I dropped that weight, and without the what's the word I want to use? The requirement of weighing in.
Yeah.
Because that's stressful as it is too. But without that, and knowing I can trust myself, that I figured, let me just try this out. Let me see where I go with it. And I just put myself recently on the calorie command, and I gave myself a 2,000 calorie limit of eating. Now I tallied up everything, basically my 5 meals a day, and I hit below the 2,000 mark, which I wanted this week because I recently just started this up again. I just recently got back into the gym. So I don't want to kind of just throw myself back in the pile thinking I'm back where I was back in March.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give myself a little, kind of like a kickstart of saying, all right, here we go again. This is what we're going to do. And we got to follow this path. So I know it's only been about 3 days now I've been on this, but I'm starting to feel rejuvenated with the nutrition that's going into me now and the eating that I'm doing. So yes, iTrack Bites is helping me out by tracking my calories. What I love best about this app is that when I enter in like rice or eggs or chicken or like spinach, it'll tell me in a graph the proteins, the fats, and the carbohydrates.
Yeah.
I think that is the most fascinating thing about that app. I love that feature.
Yeah.
The one thing I wish it did have is that it calculated all your foods in that menu that you put in, like breakfast, lunch, dinner,
like
snack,
you would, yeah.
And it just calculated it at the bottom. That would be even better, But at the same time, I don't want to take it for granted because it's a fantastic feature that's in there.
Yeah.
But I could tell you that it's only week 1 for me. I just started this, but I kind of see this kind of helping me out along the way because there are certain things that with this meal plan that I'm doing is that when I see that I'm increasing on protein, I'm getting stronger in the gym, I have to subtract certain things from me. And that's where that feature comes in about the manual calorie count. Basically, I can manipulate the calories by saying, iTrack Bites is saying, hey, look, this is where you're at. This is where you kind of measure out. But if you trust yourself, you can just hit this manual button and then basically do your own calories.
Do it.
So it's always basically I trust myself.
Totally.
And I know what I'm doing.
The whole thing is customizable for anybody. No matter what you want to do, there's going to be something for you. Love it.
Yeah.
Love
and
it.
I think that's just a fantastic feature. So, I mean, like I said, it's only week 1 of 25 weeks that I'm doing this. Judging from what I just basically said to you, that nothing kind of stops me. After week 25, I guarantee you that a whole pizza will be waiting for me.
Yes, love it. So
I'll be entering that in my iTrack Bites.
Love it. So I always ask 2 questions to my guests that I always have.
Yes.
First one, Charlie, is what is something you know now that you wish you would have known when you started your journey?
I wish I knew how to love myself. I think that's one of the things that all of us kind of attack is we always attack ourselves. We strike ourselves. We always put ourselves down. You like everyone always tells me, this is your only thumbprint. Only you have this, and you got to love who you are, because if you don't, you're not going to, bring in the motivation, everything that I brought in. You're going to be idle. You're going to stand where old Charlie used to be. He just wanted to be in the dark, wanted to be in the corner, didn't want to socialize, didn't want to talk to anyone, was afraid to talk to somebody. was afraid of getting judged, looking at pictures and saying, there's that damn love handle, you know, or someone walking up to him and saying, can you get into a smaller shirt? It was that kind of thing. And it hurts, but I think you just got to love who you are, forgive and move on. That's my thing now, is just, you got to move on. You can't stay back. It's only going forward, no regrets, because I have no time to regret. I only can go forward.
Yeah.
That's who I am. I got to go forward. I got to keep going, because I can't stop where I'm going. I know where I'm going. This journey of mine I know it's going to end on a high point. I know for a fact it is. I have big dreams and I have big goals that I need to accomplish. And I know that back in March, it tried to stop me. And I said, no, you're not stopping me, because I'm going to fulfill this. Yeah. In the meantime, I was in the garage. I was working. Yes, I took a step back from Instagram because I needed to reconnect who I was again. But when I came back out in the world, and I said to myself, all right, here I am again. Let's get this back. And that's where that old Charlie mentality is like, are you going to go back to where you were, or are you going to go forward where you're going to go?
That's right.
Because we got to keep going. And that's where basically I said, all right, this is plan B now. I'm in the gym. I invested all my, a good amount of money building up my home gym. I got a lot of equipment in there. But there came a time where I need to go forward. And that's where I'm at right now. And that's what I call Powerland. And that's where I'm going to regain my power and basically take back what I lost.
Love it.
Was my gains.
Yeah.
I need my gains back.
Love it, Charlie. Real quick, last question is, I say this every single week, this is going to be viewed by thousands of people, listen to thousands of people on the podcast. I mean, we're literally, Charlie, going up 2,000 to 3,000 listens every week. It's insane. So there's going to be somebody listening to your story and your journey right now that are so ready to get started, but they just need that little push to get started. What do you want to tell them to get them to start their health and wellness journey?
So one thing I got to tell you, and I'm just going to basically spill out my journey with the lands of power, as I call them. Mm-hmm. So the wild land reconnected me. The iron land strengthened me. The diamond land gave me thick skin. The war land basically had me go to war with myself. Circuit land basically taught me to be around people and trust them again, and to be a team rather than being alone. And then from there, energy land, where we're all in quarantine, gave me the energy to be creative and to find different techniques of exercise when we didn't have equipment available to us.
Yeah.
That was one of the big things, and that's where my creativity came in. And I thank Hannah Eden Fitness, who basically, got me through that quarantine. And then from Energy Land, went back to Iron Land. Iron Land gave me that power again. And then Extreme Land, which is my land, basically is my gym, which allowed me to reconnect, to basically rebuild of the stepping stone where I was at. And now we're here at Powerland, basically saying, I'm going to reclaim my power. So basically my advice to everyone out there is this. Take it from me. When you invest your power into somebody or something, always remember who needs that power, and it's yourself. Because one thing I have noticed, or back then when I look back, I said I poured all my energy and my power into that person, and I gave it my all. And when I was left in pieces, I lost that power. So the only power I would say is, if you're going to invest in that, invest that power into yourself, and it'll open up many doors of the unknown, of things that you don't even know you had. And you might be, inspiring people, motivating people, and pushing people to that next level. And that's the only advice I can give you guys, is invest in yourself, in your future. And because we're only on this world once, so just make it boom.
Yeah, gotta invest in ourselves. That is such good advice, Charlie, honestly. I appreciate you coming on tonight. I appreciate you telling your story. I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad that people hear it. It'll be on the podcast on Friday. Congrats on your 70-pound loss. And, you know, you gained a little back like we all do. But you made a determination that you're getting back and you're doing it. And it's inspiring, Charlie. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
well, you have a good night, Charlie. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And glad I can call you friend.
There you go. You'll see me on there. Thanks, Jordan.
Will do, bud. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. That was an amazing meeting with Charlie. 70 pounds lost. Perfect determination. This just shows you that you can do anything you put your mind to and anything you want to put power to. Invest in yourself. That's the number one thing we always need to do, is always remember, we can put so much energy into other people, but we need to put that same energy, if not more, into ourselves to be able to do that for people. You need to be around here as long as you can. And you need to have support as long as you can get it. And you can get it tonight, and you can get it every day from I Check Bites, from all of our members, friends, family, anything like that. Like I always say, search our hashtags. Hashtag I Check Bites. You're going to find so many members, Facebook page, anything like that, to get you going and get you where you need to be. So until next week, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, guys.